What's up YouTube, JamieTheKid00 here, coming at you guys with what I'm going to call it a bit more of an in-depth analysis of the Mermail deck that I profiled to you guys 2 videos ago on my channel. This was originally going to be a tournament report. I took second at my locals the other day, well, last Saturday, so 6 days ago with this deck, but it was only a small event. I think there were only 12 players, so there were 4 rounds, and I only lost to Prophecy in round 3. But what I really wanted to do was actually give an analysis of how each and every card performed and actually talk about how this deck fares at the moment. I sadly can't really talk too much about dragons, but I will talk about my theory against them, I guess, if I remember to as I'm going through the cards. But I felt that rather than doing a boring old tournament report, I really wanted to try and actually talk in depth about how every single card performed, if I can remember it, and how every single card has been performing over the past few times I've been using this, both on Dueling Network and in real life practice. So I'm going to get into the list and show you guys what I played and how I felt about a few things. I'm going to start off with Mermail Abyss Lead. I did not play Mooling Glacier. I did not miss Mooling Glacier. Abyss Lead was a 50-50 card. At some points it was absolutely incredible and put in so much work due to Abyss Lind and Abyss Sphere. However, it was also one of the deadest draws in the deck. It was absolutely horrible at times, but at the same time, this was one of the few events that I actually managed to summon it and use its effect to add back a Sphere, pitching 3 Atlanteans. So, it really is a 50-50 card. I wouldn't want to cut it, but at the same time, it is something that does get on my nerves quite a lot. And it has been, so even since Nationals, so it's got to stay in, but that's how I feel about Lead. One of the biggest instantaneous changes that I need to make to this deck is I played 2 Megalo because I've been getting told to play 2 Megalo. Other players have been playing 2 Megalo for a while, and I felt it was the worst decision in the world. Playing 2 Megalo was absolutely horrible. I'd much rather draw 2 than draw none. So after this video, I don't care about the deck being 41 cards. We're going to go straight to the 3rd Megalo because we can't be playing 2. 2 Megalo is just far too few. When you do see it, it's incredible. This is, without a shadow of a doubt, and I always say it, my favourite card in the deck is Mermail Abyss Megalo because of its, just because of the power. When you're able to ditch 2 as a cost and those 2 get their effects, you know, you almost always want to summon this with, you know, with Atlanteans or with a Gund. And then you get your Sphere as well. You don't go minus. You're summoning a big 2400 beta. You're going to be able to remove stuff from your opponent's field. It's just such a powerful card. I really like it. And it's a 7, and everyone loves 7s at the moment. I then played 3 Mermail Abyss Teus. There's nothing I can say wrong against this card. I absolutely love Teus. It puts in so much work because it requires so little to drop itself. And it pays for itself almost, like it pays its cost, and then it replaces itself by adding you a Mermail to your hand, which is almost always going to be a Gund in my opinion, but it can search out your Pike if you've already got a 4, your Turge if you need a Turge play, or your Lind if you just want to get your Linds to your hand so you can collide with things and things like that. So Teus is an incredibly versatile card and I really like it. Really good support in the deck. The 3 Abyss Lind, I'm not going to dwell on this card for very long. Lind has always been a staple at 3. It's always been great. Like if you draw it, it's okay. If you have it ready for Sphere, it's great. But like drawing it isn't bad. It's just such a versatile. I really like Lind. It sets you up with so much stuff, and the ability to get a Pike and then ditch an infantry in your opponent's battle phase is just so much fun. Something that I'm so about is double Abyss Gund. I really felt the need for 3 at this event. I really kind of missed having the 3rd, and if I had room, if the minimum deck was 42 cards, I'd be playing 3 Gund, 3 Megalo. But at the moment, I'm only playing 2 Gund, but it was so powerful. It puts in so much work for making your Xyz plays. I wish I was playing 3, but 2 is enough. 2 is enough. Then for 4s, we played 3 Abyss Pike. I would not cut this down. I would in fact play a 4th if a 4th was available, but 3 Abyss Pike is in there. It's really good for summoning, of course. Like the best play you can ever open is like Pike Dragoons, but it's really good for summoning, just pitching, say, an infantry, killing a threat, which is usually bigger than itself, and then searching out a Gund or a Lind or a marksman to deal with a back row. It's just such a powerful card. I really enjoy using it. The 1 Mermail Abyss Turge, in this variant, Mermail Abyss Turge really comes into its own because of the fact that you're playing Deep Sea Diva. This is the only card other than Salvage that can recycle your 1 Deep Sea Diva that you play, and it's really quite fun when you're able to like make plays where you really want to get to the Diva next turn, so you can have this in hand, use Tidal's effect, sending itself and like an Atlantean, killing an opponent's card, pitching the Tidal and 1 water to bury the Diva, and then you summon this, pitch, say, another Atlantean or a Gund, get your Diva back, and like you can make plays. You can make plays for that turn, and then you've got the Diva for the next turn as well, and the title engrave. So the ability to add the Diva back at any time is pretty cool. For the Atlanteans, there's the 1 Dragoons. This is actually getting really difficult to deal with, especially in decks where you play Diva. If you play Diva in this deck, you almost don't want to find the Dragoons because of the OTK. If you have Megalo Dragoons, it's no longer an OTK because you can't do the Megalo Diva play because you don't have another Dragoons to search off of the Marksman. And it keeps on making me want to play Attack Squad, I think his name was in English. The 2200 Atlantean, well, he's 1400, and then he swings for 22 when there's another Atlantean on the field. It makes the OTK work again, but I really miss that. Like, even if it was just 2 Dragoons, I really miss that extra Dragoons. And it really is a massive pain in this variant of the deck. In the Aqua Spirit deck, it's really not as bad, but in this version, it's very, very difficult to deal with. Due to playing Diva, I played 3 copies of Atlantean Marksman. Normally, I would only play 2 in such a format where there isn't much back row, but I was kind of lucky, A, because I needed the extra Marksman for the Diva summon, and I needed the 3rd quite frequently throughout this event. And I also got quite lucky because a lot of the decks, except for one of them that I played against at the locals in the 4 rounds, were 3 of them were back row heavy, 1 was Heretics. So I had a lot of fun. This was really good against Evil Sworn Prophecy and Fire Fist, but against the Heretic player, it was pretty useless. So it did come out then, but it's so good at 3 in this variant. But in the Aqua Spirit variant, I would side the 3rd. I do like the 3rd, but I would side it for the Evil Sworn decks and things like that. And then, continuing on the maxed out Atlanteans, I play 3 copies of Atlantean Heavy Infantry, because Heavy Infantry is just so good at removing really big problem cards. Cards your opponent has had to commit cards to, so any exceeds that they've had to go -1 to make, you're able to go plus on them by taking out their card that costs them 2 with your card that cost you 1. So you're able to go +1 by that mentality, and it's just so versatile. And again, I keep talking about it, it works so well with Diva. And this deck was all about Diva. This deck was all about having great plays with Diva and Fishborg Archer. So we're going to get into those now. The 1 Diva, this was an incredibly powerful card. It set up so many plays, and my one true regret is not playing Star Eater. There were so many times today when I could have made Star Eater, and my extra deck was built with the mentality of, I really like this card, so it's going in. And I didn't make my ratios correct by any means, and the numbers were way off, and there should have been different quantities of different cards, and I felt really bad about it, but I kind of no-brainered my way through the event, so I didn't really deserve to win if it was on deck building alone. But the Diva was in there. The Diva was great fun. Combined with Turge and Salvage, it just put in so much work. I absolutely loved it. I then played the 1 Fishborg Archer. I really like this card. This card, in tandem with Gund, is so powerful because you're able to have situations where you have Pike and this engrave and Gund in hand, and you can go this guy, pitch Gund, special him out, and then the Gund will get you Pike. You can use Pike's effect or Turge, so you can get your Diva back as well. It's really good when it's Turge, so you can get Diva to your hand out of the grave if it's in there. Immediately, like Black Rose with this and the 4 you've gotten out, whether it's Pike or Turge, that you then haven't used your normal summon, so you can then go into Diva, and it's just, you can make your Diva play, swing direct, and it's nice. It's really powerful. Then the only other waters I played in the deck were the 3 titles. Title gives this deck so much good recursion. One big thing that the Dragon deck has over everything else is recursion. Every turn, if its field gets absolutely removed, everything on the field gets removed, it's almost always able to put it back at least once or twice. That's what I mean by recursion. The reason why Dragon Rulers are so good at the moment is because they are unkillable. If you see where I'm going with this, you can't kill their field and then have them in a bad position unless you can lock them out with, say, a Fossil Dino and things like that, or an Abyss Dweller. If you just clear their field and then you have nothing to lock them out, they can just come straight back for almost no cost, because they can just get everything out of the graveyard. Title gives you your own bit of recursion, because in this deck, to make plays, you almost always have to go minus, or at least go +0. A lot of the time, you don't find yourself going plus if you're making big plays like Xyz plays or Synchro plays. This basically says, instead of having to put 2 Mermails on board, you only have to put 1 to make a Dracosac or a Gaius. So that's the main reason I play Tidal. It's also the fact that you've got a recurring 2600 body that can just summon itself and summon itself and summon itself, because this deck is full of waters. But that's the main reason it's in here. Then the only other things I played in the deck were hand traps in the form of, the only other monsters were in the form of 3 maxi, because you wanna slow your opponent down. In a deck that doesn't play very many traps, you of course want to have a way to dissuade your opponent from making that OTK play. And if they do play through, you've got to play the double Swift Scarecrow, because in my opinion, if you're playing maxi, you've got to be playing the Swift Scarecrow, because otherwise there's no point in you even drawing. If they decide to push through the maxi, if they have game, and you will lose, because you're never going to draw the Swift Scarecrow, because you're not playing it. So I feel the need to play the Swift Scarecrow, and the reason why I play 2 is something I explored in my Dragon Ruler deck, which is 2 reasons. One is it increases the frequency of the likelihood of you actually finding it when they play through maxi, because you really want to be able to punish someone who plays through maxi. In my opinion, people shouldn't play through maxi, so you really want to be able to punish it. You don't want to lose out on luck of not finding it. Also, a second thing, which is actually really, this is more crucial in Dragons, because Dragons are able to capitalize a lot better, but this deck can capitalize. When your opponent sees the 1 Swift Scarecrow go, they will almost always go play through the maxi the second time. If they have an OTK and then you maxi and your Swift Scarecrow is in the graveyard, they will usually play through it, because they don't think you play 2 Swifts, and no one thinks you play 2 Swifts, even though 2 Swift is norm now. So having the second one means that you're going to go plus, you go +5, and then drop the second Swift and go, I play 2, yes. Now you lose, because I have all these Atlanteans in hand, and I can pop all your crap, and crazy stuff like that. So that's why I like these. And this isn't even an in-depth analysis anymore, this is just a big ramble, but I guess it's some information that I probably haven't talked about in some of my videos. Then we play 8 other cards. That was 22 monsters, I believe. 5 spells and 3 traps. So I played 1 Darkle. Darkle, I like in this deck, I don't like in Dragons, because Dragons has enough removal. In this deck, you don't have enough removal, so you want to be able to take out as much stuff as possible. A lot of the time, I really like this card just for dealing with Draco Sack tokens, because sometimes I just can't get that 3rd monster on table, and I can just go, remove your Draco Sack tokens, and now I can just focus on killing your Draco. That's all that matters to me. So the Dark Hole is in there for that. Double Space Typhoon in main. I like this versus Vanities, and a lot of decks are playing Vanities at the moment. And it helps you deal with those really junky decks that play like main decked Macro. There are so many situations where I lose to main decked weird, ignorant stuff like Macro and Fissure, which aren't even good this format. Or I lose to just certain lockdown cards that I don't see every day. And it's also great against Tenki and Ravine and all that stuff. So it's just good in this deck. And then something that I've gone back to, which I haven't really played much since Nats. So since June, I think it was. I played Double Salvage. Double Salvage was really good. It was really good today. I remember watching my video that I did with Fuzzy XYZ, where I said I would never play Salvage again because I kept on drawing it dead. I say today, I keep saying today. This was really good Saturday. It just allowed me to recur my plays so much. It allowed me to make dead Megalos live. It allowed me to make live Megalos even better, where like if I was only gonna be sending like 1 Atlantean and then I was gonna have to send a Lind, I was able to add like another Atlantean to my hand or a gun to my hand, and I could make even better plays. It just made good plays better and dead plays doable. So the salvages were in there, and of course in tandem with Diva, it's so good. So they were great. And then the traps were just 3 Abyss Sphere. I didn't like my other build that I showed you guys, which played loads of traps. I liked the build with the maxis. In the end, like the final testing was the maxis were better than the traps, so I played 3 Sphere, no other traps. For the extra deck, this extra deck is awful. I'm going to say that right now. It's terrible. I'm going to change so much, and I will probably say that as I'm going through, but here's the list. Armory Arm. This was amazing. I made this twice. It won me games every time I made it because of the amount of damage you can just push in with this. I made Gaios with this and just kept on going 38, 38, 38. It was mind-blowingly good. So, Armory Arm. Armades. Armades is really good. I really like this for Blackwing. Like, I was going into a locals, so I was prepared to face Rogue. I love this against Blackwing. Anything light, so I don't have to fear Honest. Anything with loads of traps. It's just awesome. Awesome. And you can make it with Diva, so why not? The 1 Catastor. Catastor is just removal. Like, the Armades is a generic guy I go into, usually when I'm up against a dark deck. But the Catastor is just removal. The Dularan, the only 6 I played was Dularan, because I don't go into 6s very often, and Dularan allows you to go plus so much. I only made him once, but I believe I went like +4 off of him when I actually did make him, because I bounced back so much crap. So he was good. The one, Gungnir, I really want this in DT. I want these 2 in DT, because I love these cards. Gungnir is a more controlled Black Rose. It's a Black Rose that's going to be staying on the field, and you can trigger your Atlantan effects. So you can like ditch 2 off of this, kill 2, and then kill 2 more if it was like a marksman and an infantry. So he's really versatile. Of course, the Black Rose for the Fishborg Archer play that I was on about. I played the one Crimson Blader. Crimson Blader I really didn't like. I never made it. I felt like I might be able to make it, but I never actually made it. So he'd probably come out for another Draco Sack, because I really, really regretted not playing 2 Draco Sacks for this event. So he's probably coming out, because while he is incredibly good for shutting out dragons, you never make him. You really do never make him. He is doable in this deck, but it's a waste of time. For the Exceeders, I played the one Armoured Kappa. Kappa was really, really good throughout the event. My favourite play of all time with Kappa is just the fact that you can go, okay, I'm under an Evil Swarm player, so all I have to do is go find my Diva, like get a Dragoon's play off, or find my Diva, or sack my way into a Diva, summon that Diva, get an infantry, exceeds for the Armoured Kappa, and then immediately just detach the infantry to give it an extra K defense. The infantry is detached, and then you kill your opponent's Ophion, and then you can go off. Or there's also the play where you can go the same thing under Fissure and kill the opponent's Fissure, because this goes to the graveyard. And it just makes Armoured Kappa, like, just makes that play really good. It makes Diva even more versatile, and it can protect your entire board. Like, if you've made an investment with your board and you get stopped and you haven't used your normal summon, like, because you don't use your normal summon that often in this deck when you're like dropping Megalos and crap, you can then go Diva, Marksman, Diva, Infantry, make this, and go, unless you have Dark Hole, my field doesn't die. So, I then played the one Leviathan, because it was the generic 3, which actually triggers Marksman when you detach off of it, so why not? The one Trite, because Trite was really good. Bahamut Shark and Dweller, the 4s, I love these 2. I love Bahamut Shark plays, I love Dweller, so this was really good against dragons. I never played against dragons at the locals, but on Dueling Network, this shuts them out so much. You make them go minus from their hand, lock everything into the grave, and then make this, and they're locked out. So it's pretty good. The one Draco Sack, I regret playing 1 so much. I wish I played 2, but yeah, I was stupid. So I only played 1. The one Big Eye, which was good at 1, and the one Gaios, which probably should have been played at 2. In final review, things I would cut. Crimson Blader and possibly the Bahamut Shark Trite combo. I do really like that combo, but it's something I might cut. Or failing that, if I just had to cut to make space for another Gaios and another Draco Sack, it'd probably be the Crimson Blader and the Leviathan Dragon. They're the things I'd cut. So let's get these picked up and moved out of the way. Right. So the only other thing I want to talk about is a side deck. I didn't actually show you guys a side deck in the last video, so I figured I should be good and actually show you one. This side deck was a bit hodgepodge together. I have a thing called a side deck binder. Actually, it's right here. I just have a little side deck binder where I keep all my stuff for siding. That's not siding, but like all the random stuff I could ever hope to side deck against people. And I literally took my side deck binder down to the event. Not Fusion Gates, but like there's some random stuff in there as well. I took this down to the locals and like went, I need a side deck. I don't have a side deck built, and built a 15 card side deck out of my side deck binder. And this is what I came up with. So bear with me, I guess. I put in 2 Kaiku. This is borrowed from my Dragon Ruler deck. 2 Kaiku is good in the Dragon Ruler game. It's good in the games where people want their stuff in the grave. It's really good against Insectors, actually. And it's just really useful against all sorts of really random stuff that revolves around their grave. So I really like Kaiku in that regard. Double Abyss Soldier. This went in for Evil Swarm. This is my out to Evil Swarm Ophion, and it's beautiful in DT. It's just so good at triggering your Atlantan effects and your Gund effects and taking out Ophion. That is his main purpose. I put it in against Fire Fist as well, just to be able to spin stuff away if they made stuff. So I just really like Soldier. I just really like the card. I teched 1 Trollsy Penguin Soldier in the side, and it was really good against the Evil Swarm matchup. It was really good against the Fire Fist matchup, surprisingly, because he did run into this once. And it was great against the Hieratic matchup. So I really like this card. It's just so much fun. It's salvageable. It can be ditched off Megalo if you have to, or ditched off of Teos or anything like that, which I think I did at one point. So, Soldier is just good. Really, really good. For the spells, I played double Xyz Encore because 3 is overkill if you can't actually kill the Ophion. So if you can't actually kill the materials, it's useless. So 2 is enough, 3 was a bit much. And then everything else I played was traps. I played 1 Malevolent Catastrophe because I only have 1. I wanted to play double Malevolent because you want to be able to make your plays without fearing back row. That's the biggest thing. And I really wish I had to because I would have put 2 in against every matchup I played except for Evil Swarm. But hey, it was a thing. I used it against the Firefist player. I never drew it against the Evil Swarm player and the Prophecy player. So that was a thing. I decided triple Imperial Iron Wall. Imperial Iron Wall is, in my opinion, a staple in decks that can play it. Every time I put in the Iron Wall, I would always side myself down to 2 titles. I never completely cut the title because I felt that in situations where I didn't find the Iron Wall, title was going to give me an edge against the Dragon Ruler matchup anyway. And title was going to give me an edge against the Prophecy matchup and things like that. So I felt that keeping the titles in was good. It was like back in Macro Rabbit format when I used to play Macrocosmos. Against Insectors, I used to keep the Macrocosmoses in and side in Effect Veilers, just so that if they did stun or kill the Macro or the Macro wasn't there, I also had the Veilers. So it's the same mentality in my opinion. I played double Gozen. These were the 14th and 15th cards. I didn't have anything else to put in. I couldn't find my Veilers. So the Gozen matches went in, and I never saw them. So I don't think I ever put them in. So that was the thing. And then double Royal Decree for the decks like Evil Swarm. And I put this in against Prophecy because I know Prophecy plays a few traps. And I put this in against Firefist and it clogged. I opened both and they were so bad because he never saw any traps. So that was a thing, I guess. But yeah, guys, this has been my in-depth kind of ramble on Mermail. I know this hasn't been that coherent, and it wasn't really very planned. I just said to myself, I really want to do an in-depth chat about Mermails. So this is my review of every card that I played to the best of my abilities thus far. I'm sorry, but I will not be producing any content over the weekend because I am going to be away. But I will try and get back on track. I have a lot of work. I'm really sorry, but yeah. I've got a few more deck profiles coming up in the next week, so I will see you guys then. Other than that, leave your comments down below, tell me what you've thought, and tell me if you want me to keep doing these long videos, or if you want me to go back to doing my short and snappy deck profiles. Otherwise, that's about everything. This is me, Jamie the Kid 00, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!